Over the weekend, the Carolina Hurricanes absolutely dominated the Arizona Coyotes and Tampa Bay Lightning. Find out just how they were able to be so dominant this weekend in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Monday afternoon. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes, myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. And don't forget to also subscribe to the show on YouTube. We're having some great growth over there, so make sure you're a part of it. Now, looking at the Carolina Hurricanes weekend, it was a great weekend to be a Caniac as the Hurricanes won both of their games against the Arizona Coyotes and defending Eastern Conference champion Tampa Bay Lightning in dominant fashion. Shayne Gostisbehere, I'm just going to refer to him as Ghost because I'm still struggling to pronounce that last name. He was better than I think anyone could have expected in his first two games as a Hurricane, scoring power play goals in both games. His second game, respectively, also being a multi-point game for him, which we will dive into when we talk about that Tampa Bay game here in a bit. But first, we're going to talk about the Arizona game briefly. We're going to hear what Shayne had to say after that game. And then after the Tampa game, we're going to hear from him again, along with Rod Brind'Amour, Teuvo Teravainen, Jesperi Kotkanemi. So we got a lot of people to hear from. We got a lot to get through today. So let's dive into that Arizona game, folks, as that was a really dominant 6-1 win over the Coyotes. This was a near perfect game by the Hurricanes. Just that one little slip up there in, I believe it was the second period when Arizona was finally able to get on the board. But otherwise, a near perfect game for the Hurricanes. They came out swinging in that game. They were there. They were ready to go against Arizona. They really looked like a team that it really outmatched the Coyotes. They played that game how they're supposed to. That was how game was supposed to play out. The Hurricanes were supposed to dominate that game. And yes, the Coyotes did score there in the second period. It was by Krause, a little over 10 minutes into the second period. But, that one little slip up is a near perfect game. The Hurricanes, that's how they're supposed to play against Arizona. They're supposed to be the heavyweight. Arizona is supposed to be playing outside of their weight class, and that's how that game was supposed to go. It was clear that game was over early, and it as a Hurricanes fan, it was great to see, because this team, again, that's how that game is supposed to go. And one thing with this game and with the Tampa Bay game as well, the power play. My God, where has this been? They went 3 for 4 on the power play there in that game against Arizona. And I know a lot of people are saying, Ghost is really providing a spark for that. And early on, these first two games, he sure as hell is. And again, that goal he had there in Arizona, that was a power play goal. His goal against Tampa Bay, that was also a power play goal. And with the gaming against Arizona, one thing that I personally think not a lot of people are talking about, and with the Tampa Bay game, is just how many Hurricanes tallied points. And with the Arizona game, it was 8 different point scores. Brent Burns, He had 4 assists. He's the first defenseman in franchise history to have 4 primary assists in a game. Sebastian Aho had 2 goals and an assist. Marty Necas had a goal and 2 assists. Jacob Slavin had a goal and an assist. Had Paul Stasny, had a goal. Seth Jarvis had an assist. Andrei Svechkov had 2 assists, and again, Ghost had 1 goal in that game against Arizona. And I don't think a lot of enough people are talking about that. We had 8 different point scores in that game against Arizona, and that's what I'm talking about. When I say the team needs to play a team game, that's the kind of stuff. Obviously, 8 different point scores, that's not going to happen every game, but you see it spread out. And it's not just one guy doing it all. Heck, it wasn't that way against Tampa Bay when Teuvo had a hat trick. You still had a bunch of guys tallying up points. And you also look at the names here, those are names that, for the most part, names that you're wanting to show up on your score sheet with Brent Burns, Sebastian Aho, Marty Necas, Seth Jarvis, Andrei Svechkov. Those are guys that you expect to show up on the score sheet. Jacob Slavin showing up is always great. He's not, the biggest point scorer. That's not necessarily his game. But anytime Jacob Slavin has a multi-point game, he has a power play goal, never going to complain about that. Paul Stasny, him showing up, that's obviously great as well. And then Ghost just coming in right off the bat. That was the day he met the team, that game against Arizona. He met the team that day. And he goes out, plays an integral part in the Hurricanes winning. Yeah, I know it's 6-1, and if he hadn't scored his goal, it wasn't going to make a difference. But he really provided a spark in that game with the power play, and it carried over against Tampa Bay as well. And one thing that I'm really hoping is that this is sustainable. I don't expect 3 for 4 on power play, 4 for 5 on power play. I don't expect that game after game, but the power play looked like a threat. Goals aside, you take out the goals, that it looked like a threat. And that's big. I've been saying that a lot as of recently, heading into the trade deadline, that it feels like these past few weeks, that was a big thing I wanted from the power play. If they score goals, that's great. But I just want it to be a threat and, create chances and be dangerous. And that's what we're getting right now. And I really hope this is sustainable. I really, really do. I'm up. I think me and you and everyone listening and watching, we're all going to enjoy this for as long as it lasts. But I really do hope this is something that is sustainable and that the Hurricanes can sustain and keep going, through this remainder bit of the regular season, through the playoffs. Because it seems like so often, offense just dries up. Power play is non-existent. And man, this is what we need, guys. This right here, this is what we've been talking about. This is the Hurricanes that they've obviously been really good all year long, but what we saw in these 2 games, that can win a Stanley Cup right there. Now, also, one thing is we obviously got all the offense going and looking good as well. You also had Antti Raanta, and he's, won 6 straight now. His point streak is extended to 15 games. Longest in franchise history. It's been the longest for a while now. He just keeps extending it. He is on a tear. And like I said, with how many point scores we had in that game against Arizona, not enough people are really talking about the run that Antti Raanta is on. And we'll do, a bonus episode over the weekend about that, because I feel that's just something that he's on such a tear right now, and it's really flying under the radar. I think, because it's the Hurricanes and they're obviously, contenders and, they do grab some headlines, but Antti Raanta, he's not a guy that typically grabs a lot of headlines, and the streak that he is on right now is ridiculous. And, if he was Andre Vasilevsky or Marc-Andre Fleury or someone like that, that's all anyone would be talking about. Just the run that he is on right now. He's what was it? What was it? It was he was on a I know he's tied for one of the streaks this year. Second longest streak this season in terms of wins right now. And it's ridiculous just how good he has been this year. And all right, I found it. I found it. I found it, guys. I found it. We're going to talk about just how good Antti Ranta has been this year. Well, obviously this year, but just the streak he is on is ridiculous. Absolutely. And I think that, if he was if Antti Ranta was, again, a bigger name, it's all anyone would be talking about. Is all anyone would be talking about. I can't find it right now, but I know he was tied with Tristan Jarry for second longest streak, in terms of, I think, was it wins of the season? I'm not sure. But again, we're gonna talk about that in depth over the weekend in a bonus episode. But again, I told you we're going to hear from Shayne Gostisbehere after his first game as a Hurricane and his first goal as a Hurricane and his first game against his former team, Arizona Coyotes. And this is just what he had to say.
You were just talking about the terminology out there, and a lot of guys in the room this morning were talking about this is a very different system than a lot of teams play. Like, what is the biggest difference?
I mean, it's not so much a system. It's just, their terminology is different than, other teams in the sense that it could be the same thing. It's just called something different. So I think it's easier to, put a name to, a certain play, a certain system, and it helps a little more. I mean, these guys have been awesome with helping me. I mean, I'm asking questions every shift, so, they've been great.
What was warm-ups like? I saw you talking to Cassie and a bunch of guys.
It was a little weird. I'm not going to lie, just being on the other side so quick, just the other day I was on the other team, so, it was a little weird, but, it's a good person.
And they, talking to Waddell today, I mean, he made it very clear they got you to quarterback the power play, and then you come right out on your first power play and get a goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good boost of confidence for sure. Any way you could help the team, and, I think everyone has an identity on this team. You got to know your job and just do your job as well as you can.
Just covering other teams, that's the quietest I've ever seen a team come off the ice after a victory. I mean, does it feel like this team is sort of like bigger aspiration?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's business, strictly business. You win the games you're supposed to win, and, you just take care of your business and you're on to the next one.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And obviously, it was a really quick turnaround for Shayne of just a couple days before he's playing for Arizona, and now he's suiting up against them. And it was a very quick turnaround. And so far he's slotted in great, and he's slotted in fantastic. And quarterbacking the power play, is better. It's gone better than anyone could have expected. Again, it's just 2 games so far, so I mean, we'll see. Again, is it sustainable of just the run that they're on right now with bringing him in? But it's been great so far, and I did end up finding that stat for Antti Ranta. I'm gonna read it verbatim from the game notes. Antti Ranta stopped 17 of 18 shots at Arizona, extending his win streak to 6 games from January 25th to March 3rd, and improving to 12-0-1 in his last 13 appearances, dating back to December 17th. His 13-game point streak is the second longest point streak by any NHL goaltender this season. trailing only Tristan Jarry from Pittsburgh, who did it from November 17th to December 22nd. He went 12-0-2. And for the longest streak in 22-23, Bronta has earned a point in a franchise record 15 consecutive decisions with 2 or fewer goals allowed in 7 of his last 10 games. So, again, heck of a run by Antti Ranta, heck of a debut by Ghost, and the good fortunes for the Hurricanes continued into yesterday afternoon when the Hurricanes took on the Tampa Bay Lightning and absolutely dominated them. And we will talk about that Tampa Bay game right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, it's starting to get nice out. I had the door open earlier, and folks, they're going to be wanting to get healthy, enjoy this nice weather, and be out being active. And a good supplement to have with that is, of course, Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, or gluten free. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything, while still tasting good. It supports better sleep quality and recovery, supports mental clarity and alertness. It's the one thing with the best things. Athletic Greens uses the best of the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third party testing. And guys, multivitamins are really important. You got to be taking care of yourself, and it's important that you're taking a multivitamin with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take care of yourself. And your subscription comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which is so important to add during these winter months. While it is nice out right now, we know how North Carolina weather is. We're in fake spring. It's not real spring. It's going to get cold again here soon. And so you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. So right now, it is time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Now, folks, diving back on into the Hurricanes and just what they were able to accomplish this weekend. Again, they're coming off that really dominant game against Arizona, and then it just really continued against Tampa Bay. I was not expecting that game against Tampa Bay to go the way it did. I know Tampa's been struggling a little bit here, and as of late, but I didn't expect that. We all know just how good Tampa Bay can be, but getting shut out 6-0, having only 14 shots. Second period, they didn't have any. Zero. Zero. I gotta get it lined up to the camera, right? But zero shots on goal in the second period. That was insane. I don't think anyone could have predicted just how good that game went for the Hurricanes. Like I mentioned earlier, they went 4 for 5 on the power play in that game. And again, they manhandled Tampa. 4 power play goals. Jesperi Kotkanemi had a career high 5 points in a single game. Teuvo Teravainen had a hat trick. For Teuvo to have a hat trick on you, the man does not like to shoot. And the fact that he got a hat trick, come on now. Come on. And that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And, Andrei Svechkov, he opened up the scoring, getting his own rebound. Absolute beauty of a shot. If you haven't seen it, go watch the highlight of it. But that right there, that's the Svech we need going down this stretch, going into the playoffs. If he plays like that in the playoffs and the team around him keeps it up, We don't have a repeat of that game in Edmonton earlier in the year where he had a hat trick and just the rest of the team did not show up. The rest of the team shows up around him and he plays like that. Hurricanes can go on a deep run. And if he keeps that up, he could very well be the Conn Smythe winner for the Hurricanes if they were to win the Stanley Cup. If he plays like that, he really could. And again, defense was absolutely ridiculous. Again, second period, no shots from Tampa Bay. And, with Teuvo having a hat trick, that actually tied the Hurricanes for most in the league this year with 7. They're tied with Buffalo. Svetch had 2. Aho had 2. Obviously, now Turbo, Marty, and Seth. They've all had hat tricks this season. And compared to years past where we were lucky to get 1, this is crazy. Crazy. And again, Jordan Martin, we obviously love that. But you look at the other names there, Teuvo, Andre, Sebastian, Seth, those are the names that you want, especially Andre, Sebastian, and Seth. Those are the names you want to be scoring goals, getting hat tricks. That's what you want from those guys. Again, Teuvo's not necessarily a big goal scorer, but man, he shows up like that in the playoffs. Whoo, boy. Oh, man, there will be. That's something to reckon with come playoff time. But we did get to hear from him post game as well, after his hat trick. And, this is what Teuvo had to say after his hat trick.
Sure, you guys took charge today pretty quickly. Didn't allow much of anything. I mean, you had 4 shots in the first 2 periods.
Yeah, they're a good team, but I guess we played a pretty good game then because, like you said, they didn't really get anything today, any chances, so it's a really good job.
I think people were wondering how adding Ghost to the power play was going to improve the power play. It seems like 7 power play goals in 2 days.
Yeah, he's been really good. Good start for him, so I'm sure he's going to help us a lot.
How about you? It seems like, as the season has gone on, you've gotten better and better. Obviously tonight, hat trick. But do you feel like your game has progressed throughout the year?
Yeah, I feel like always sometimes takes a little time to me to get going and get my confidence and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty good. I don't know. I feel like I always can play better. So never perfect.
Is it nice for KK? Get 5-point night. A lot of people said, "Oh, the team needs a second-line center," but pretty big statement from him.
Yeah, he's playing way better, and he's really proving he can be a really great player for us. So it's good for him.
What do you make of your locker over there, all the hats?
Yeah, it was a nice little surprise. See all those hats there. It's pretty special to score 3 goals for sure. And I lost my grandfather a little bit ago, so that's going for him.
When was that, George?
So a week ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry about it.
Thanks, Turbo.
Thank you.
So, in listening to Teuvo there, obviously, Shayne has, been a really big help with the power play. Jesperi making a statement in that game was really, really big statement game for him. I've been critical of him, and, other folks have been way more critical of him than I have. So for him to come out and have a game like that, that was really big. We'll hear from him. We'll hear from Ghost. But one thing I didn't know was that Teuvo had lost his grandfather, a week ago. And for him to come out and have a game like that, have a hat trick, I think that was sure that meant a lot for him and his family and the team as a whole, kind of rallying around him for that. I did not know that. And yeah, that was something else. I had only listened to part of that clip, and to hear that there at the end, man, that's heavy. That was heavy stuff, guys. But big congratulations to him. Obviously, condolences to him and his family, of course. But moving on to Jesperi as well. Big statement from him. 5 points. He had a power play goal and 4 assists, and that's what you want from him. And obviously, I know 5 points, night that's not gonna happen. But for him to step up and have a game like that, that's big for him. He had the first star of the game. That was a career high from him. And this is what he had to say after the game as well.
5-point night's got to feel pretty good for yourself. How does that feel?
Yeah, not bad. I think just overall, the team had a hell of a night. They had 4 shots after the 2 period, so just hell of a job there all night, and a couple points is a nice plus.
People make a big deal out of a trade deadline and say, the locker room wants to see a team go out and add big players. Obviously, you guys made additions that look like they're going to matter, but there was no big splash. First-round picks going the other way. How is, obviously, everyone in here is fine with what you guys have.
I think there's a reason why we're top of the standings right now. We got a hell of a group right here in the room. A couple nice addings there, and I think it'll be real good. And like I said, everyone trusting each other here. I think that's the biggest thing. And I feel if you add too many guys, it might change the locker room a little bit. So I like what we have here right now.
When you're able to hand Tampa their 5th straight loss, what does that feel like for you guys, knowing that you guys were able to just dominate anyone in the league?
I think we had a couple tougher games there. We won the last game, was not our best for sure. I think it was just really good to get back at it.
What's Gostisbehere been adding to the power play for you guys?
A lot of goals. Yeah, leave it like that.
Do you feel or notice, obviously the score sheet shows the results, but do you feel an impact that he's having as well?
You can tell he's really calm in the blue line. He's not in the rush. He makes great plays. He shoots the puck, I think that's all we need.
All right. Thanks, KK.
Thank you.
Yeah, KK, great night. Again, career high. And obviously, when he said about Ghost of, what does he bring to power play? A lot of goals. And yet, that's what this team needed. It's what they needed, guys. And they got it. Again, my big thing is just let's sustain it and not score all the power play goals here, in these games and the next. Let's keep it going throughout the rest of the season into the playoffs. Man, they can do that. Oh my God, if they can do that, guys. It's been the one thing that this team has been missing this year was the power play showing up. And it has shown up in spades these past 2 games. And look at what they've done. 6-1 over Arizona, 6-0 against Tampa Bay. Ridiculous. Now they are firing on all cylinders. Not 7 cylinders, all 8. They're firing on all 8 cylinders right now, and it is beautiful to watch. And we will hear what Shayne had to say after that win against Tampa Bay. And we'll also hear what Rod had to say after the win against Tampa Bay right after this quick break, folks. Now, again, like I said, when we were talking about athletic greens, it's nice out now. People are going to be wanting to go out, go on hikes, and just enjoy nice weather before it gets cold again because it's North Carolina and it does that here. And you want to take a snack with you, you got to take Built Bar. Built Bar, they've been a sponsor of the show for a long time. And you guys that have been around for a long time know all about them. But if you're new here, you got to be asking yourself what makes Built Bar so good. Well, they're covered in 100% real chocolate for starters, and they are extremely healthy. They have only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein, all while tasting like a candy bar. And they come in so many different flavors. We'd be here all day if I were to list all the flavors, but you got some great flavors like churro, my personal favorite peanut butter brownie, coconut almond, and you can go on their website, built.com, and look at all of the flavors. But if you need them right now, first finish listening to the episode, but then go to Walmart. You can get some there, or you can go to Sam's Club as well. You can go to Walmart and get a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. I'd go with the double chocolate, or you can go to Sam's Club and get a 13-bar box of brownie batter and churro. You can't go wrong with either one. I think I'd go with brownie batter though. So make sure you go pick them up from there. Or again, if you want something else, go to built.com. and pick you up some Built Bars to take on your hike. Enjoy the nice weather before it gets cold again, because again, it's North Carolina. It's going to get cold again. Now, diving back into the game, Shayne Gostisbehere, he had a heck of a game. He had 3 points. Yes, 3 points in that game against Tampa Bay. And before we hear from him, like I said against Arizona, one thing not enough people are talking about is just the amount of goals, point scores we had in the game against Tampa Bay. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different point scores in that game against Tampa Bay. We had Andrei Svechkov with 1 goal, Teuvo Teravainen with 3, Jesperi Kotkanemi with 1 goal, 4 assists, Ghost with a goal and 2 assists, Burns with an assist, and Marty Necas with 3 assists. That's something that no one is talking about right now, is Marty Necas having a 3-assist game. And that was his 15th multi-point game of the season and his 8th multi-assist game of the season, both of which are tied for the team high. He has, I said, and so many other people that cover the Hurricanes and just the NHL in general said that he needed to have a bounce back year, and he has exceeded all expectations. And then we also had Freddie Anderson getting another shutout, or actually his first shutout of the year, surprisingly. But it was his first of the year. Didn't have to do a whole lot of work. He only faced 14 shots in for Freddie. That's nothing. That's light work. That is a light work for Freddie. 14 saves. He can do that with his eyes shut. And that was, again, his first of the season. The Hurricanes have now had shutouts with 3 different goalies this year. Crazy to think about. And that also, while they're tied with Tampa for most hat tricks of the season, they're tied with the New York Islanders for most shutouts of the season. Ironically, also with 7. But, that's neither here nor there. And that was Freddie's 50th win as a Hurricane. He is now tied with Peter Mrazek for 8th all-time wins with the Hurricanes. Obviously, he's going to crawl up that list a bit more this season. We'll see what happens next season. He is a UFA after this season. Also, Antti Raanta is. But, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But, again, when going back to all the point scores, not only did we have 6 different point scores, you also had 3 different power play goal scores. Turbo with 2, Ghost and KK. Also, it's crazy. Like I said, they're firing on all cylinders right now. All 8 cylinders, they're firing on them. And look at what you get. Look at what you get when you do it. It's not just, dominating, a team like Arizona. Is dominating the defending Eastern Conference champions and shutting them out, holding them to just 14 shots, holding them to 0 shots in a period. That's what this team can do. If they can keep doing that, this team can go all the way. Maybe Andrei Svechkov is your Conn Smythe winner, like I said earlier. He could be if he continues to play the way he has been. There it is. But could also be Ghost. It could be a lot of people. Jesperi Kotkanemi. Like, so many guys are stepping up right now. It's great. Absolutely fantastic. And speaking of Ghost, this is what Ghost had to say after this game against Tampa Bay.
Welcome to Raleigh, I guess.
Yeah, thanks. It was a long time when I play in a game, a home game with the building that full. So, it was a good energy out there, and we played a heck of a game too.
Kind of a shock to what you saying to play in a building that full?
Yeah, I mean, just you're used to playing somewhere else for a little bit. You don't get too many, the energy match the energy of this building. It was pretty cool to see.
What's it been like for you to just kind of come in here and have this hot start? They wanted you for the power play, and you delivered so far.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got a job in here. Everyone's got a role. They told me my role. They were honest with me from day one, and that's what I focus on. I'm just happy to get on board this train, and hopefully we keep it rolling.
Do you feel any added pressure knowing that this team's at the top of their game and at the top of the division?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was definitely a little nervous before the first game. You don't want to be that guy who comes in and it obviously
doesn't go. But I feel like these guys, the coaches, they're helping me make this transition seamless, and hopefully I can just blend in here.
Is it almost easier to step in without a? I guess you had one practice, but not
Yeah,
a whole lot of
I
time.
mean, they throw you in the fire like that. Sometimes it's a little easier, and fortunately for me, it's gone pretty well the first 2 games.
What's it been like for you in these last few days? Just being traded, just the whole process.
Yeah. Just a little emotional, for my family and I. We haven't really dealt with a whole deadline situation like this before. When I was traded the first time, it was in the summer. You have a little more time to, digress and whatnot. So I think for us, I think it's been awesome because these guys have, made me feel like I'm at home, and been really helpful for me.
Has anything surprised you since you've been here about these guys? Something maybe you didn't know?
Just how dialed in they are. I mean, coming from a team, who's technically, at the bottom, and you come to a team who's, one of the best in the league. It's pretty cool to see how their culture is and how they run the ship here. And it's like I said, you just want to blend in, come and do your job.
How about the guy at the top? The guy steering the ship, Brind'Amour?
He's one of a kind for sure. But I think when I got traded here, everyone first thing they said is you're going to love Rod, and I could see why guys want to play for him, and obviously you want to do your best.
All right, thanks, Ghost. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so again, Shayne, heck of a game, heck of a debut, and the fact that he has been able to adapt so quickly is crazy, absolutely crazy. And like you said, the first time he got traded, from Philly to Arizona, it was during the summer. So again, a lot more time to prepare, get ready for things, and this time around, he had a couple days. If that, well, no, the Arizona, the day he met the team was the first day he suited up for them. Like, it's crazy just how quickly he has adapted, and just it really speaks a lot to the team of just how they've been able to get him in and ready so quickly. The Hurricanes, that's a testament to the team that has been built. The guys that have been around for a long time and really understand, how things go. Like, it's crazy. Like, you've seen it in the past, not just in hockey, with the Hurricanes or any other team, but you've seen it in the past with, just sports in general, of guys coming in midway through the season and struggling to adapt. I mean, heck, you look at the Hurricanes, kind of took Brent Burns a little bit to get rolling here. He spent so many years there in San Jose, took him a while. You look to football, not last season, the season before. God, time is all over the place. But the season before, when Cam Newton came back with the Panthers midway, he had the one good game against Arizona, but as a whole, you could tell like he wasn't super familiar with the playbook. And you could really tell, and of course, the team around him was crap. But that's go listen to the Locked On Carolina Panthers for all of that. But it's the fact that he has been able to slot in, it's a testament to the team. And like you said, guys want to play for Rod. And we've talked about it many times, he's done a heck of a job of turning this franchise around. Yeah. And you don't have the Hurricanes without Rod. And he's a heck of a coach. And like Shayne said, there's a reason guys want to play for him. And again, this was a perfect game by the Hurricanes. You could tell it was a TNT broadcast. Both of these were TNT broadcasts, which it's obviously, as Hurricanes fans, we get a little worried about the national broadcast sometimes because the Hurricanes as a whole tend to play pretty bad on national broadcasts. But these past 2 games was not the case. And you could tell in this game, they were really, you could tell they wanted to praise Tampa, and they couldn't. And they were having to sing Carolina's praises. Trip Tracy made a comment about it on the radio broadcast. And it's crazy to think about. But, as I said, guys want to play for Rod. He's the guy behind the bench calling everything for the Hurricanes. It's a big part of how good this team is. And this is what he had to say after this win against Tampa.
A lot of good in that game. What were you most impressed with?
Let's see, overall game, we came out, excuse me. came out really well and stuck with it most of the game. Third period a little iffy there, but that's going to happen. So pretty happy with the whole game.
How important are these types of games where you can kind of bring on an onslaught of goals and for the confidence of a team?
Yeah. I think it helps the guys feel good about themselves, but you want to have some confidence. And we've had a lot of games this year where we put up a lot of action at the net and looked like that but didn't score, and that's frustrating. So especially against these guys, generally we don't get a lot because the goalie is the difference. So it was nice to see us get a few.
There's so much. What's been your takeaway from Gostisbehere's impact on the power play?
Well, pretty obvious. It's what we needed. Have a quarterback back there, another one to help facilitate that power play. So he obviously knows what he's doing.
There's so much noise around the deadline. You hear about everybody's got an opinion about what a team needs. You guys were happy with what you had, and obviously you worked around the edges here with Ghost and with Yessa. But is it good from that sense in the locker room to show everybody, hey, we're in good shape?
Well, I think the truth's going to come later, right, as we know. But it's nice to have an early impression like that to maybe quiet people. I mean, not that we listen to it, but now they can say, well, wait a minute, maybe this is the right fit, and stop talking about it, I guess. But the proof's always going to be later, as we know.
Same could be true said of KK. Everybody, there's plenty of people who say, oh, you need somebody who produces more points there, and then 5-point night.
Right. Well, I mean, he's still a young kid, so this is what happens when you fly cross country twice in a row.
Last one on
I gotta get out of here. He's a young kid. He's gonna take that.
And so, with Rod there, we didn't get to hear everything, from him, but with him there, I think what he was going to say with KK is a lot of stuff we've been saying already this episode is just he stepped up, and a big thing with both of these games is the fact that the puck was going in the back of the net for the Hurricanes, and in the game against Tampa they had 38 shots. In the game against Arizona, I did not write it down, they had 42 shots. The Hurricanes they're a high shooting team, and now it's paying off. Things are going in for them, and again, they are firing on all 8 cylinders right now. This team is dangerous. It is absolute danger. It's going to be really interesting to see how things go when the Bison King slots in, which could be tomorrow. And a lot of people think it will be tomorrow. He's going to meet with the team tomorrow and slot on in, make his debut. Hopefully his visa issues have been sorted out or will be sorted out by the end of the day. It is nearly 12:30 in the afternoon here in Raleigh as I'm recording this. So hopefully by end of game against Montreal, he's able to be ready to go. And I think that's going to be the bar has been set really high by Ghost of debuts for the Hurricanes at post trade deadline. It's going to be really interesting to see how things go. We'll talk more about it tomorrow when we get more of an idea of how things are looking there for him. But I've mentioned before, I think he's going to probably slot in there on that 4th line to start out with. Who sits, we'll just have to wait and see. But we'll talk about all that in tomorrow's episode. Make sure you are following the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode when we preview tomorrow's game against Montreal and potentially Yessi's Hurricanes debut. And as always, folks, let's go Canes.